building. That is going to open this summer because there's a music museum going to be moved from London to here on the ground floor, and there's 2 restaurants going to open there, so it's going to be open to the public. That's the second one.
The White Star.
Oh, that's a nice one. Yeah, that's where all the staff used to go and drink there. I've been in there. It's a good pub. Yeah, the White Star. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, it was a company. The White Star was a company. That is as deep as it's tall. That's the ventilation shaft for the Mersey Tunnel. And a lot of those windows are false because there's only 2 engineers and 2 big fans turning around 24 hours a day in there.
Ventilatie,
Well, the building on the left, that's the Conan building. That's the second of the buildings. And you notice they're opening a new front here. That's because of the new museum that's going to open at Easter. On the third building on your left, this is the Worldline Building. Now this is a unique building, this one. It's a copy of a Chicago skyscraper. And it was opened in 1911, and it was Europe's tallest building. It was our first skyscraper.
Yeah.
It's not even the tallest building in Liverpool anymore. Don't worry, we're just swapping drivers, by the way. It's lunchtime. The town building here, he put his seal of approval on the plan, and he was a Plantagenet king, and his seal was an eagle. So Liverpool's emblem was an eagle, right up until 1776, when there was a small fire in the town hall, and the seal was slightly damaged. So a local artist was commissioned to do a new one, and you know what artists are like. They do their own thing. So this is where we got our liver bird from. It's got the body of a cormorant, the head of an eagle, with seaweed in its mouth. Or a church. And in medieval times, in the 1300s, the Middle Ages, this was a place of pilgrimage. People would come here for religious reasons. Now, the church should be very old. It isn't. On the 20th of December 1940, she was hit by a direct hit from a bomb during the Blitz, and she was destroyed. Part of the tower goes back to 1815. The rest of it was built in 1952. Lap up to the side. Yeah, the other tragedy, in 1811 the tower fell down. It must have been the water coming up, lapping up against the side. So they rebuilt the tower in 1815. So it didn't have much luck, and then it brown. Because at the top of this little hill stood our castle for 500 years, and it stood up here on the right hand side. We pulled it down to build the docks in 1724. We took it block by block down the hill to build the dock, and we had a church here for 150 years, St George's, and then in 1906 we unveiled the Victorian Monument, which stands to our right hand side there. Now this is Lord Street. This used to be the orchard for the castle. It's now on stop number 3 for Liverpool 1, if anyone was interested. Yeah, we got somebody who wants to go off, please, Jimmy. Thank you. Brown, because at the top of this little hill stood our castle for 500 years, and it stood up here on the right hand side. We pulled it down to build the docks in 1724. We took it block by block down the hill to build the dock. And we had a church here for 150 years, St George's. And then in 1906 we unveiled the Victorian Monument, which stands to our right hand side there. Now this is Lord Street. This used to be the orchard for the castle. It's now on stop number 3 from Liverpool 1, if anyone was interested. Yeah, we got somebody who wants to go, please Jimmy, thank you. Beatles themed hotel, it's called the Hard Day's Night Hotel.
Hard Day's Night.
And just to the right of us there's a small alleyway. Now this is Matthew Street. Now that's where the cabin is. Beatles played there 292 times. And it's still there. If you're going to visit the cabin, it's open 7 days a week. But go after 2:30 because they have live music after 2:30 every day. This was the commercial centre of Liverpool. It's hard to believe that Liverpool was full of banks and building societies, insurance companies. But there was a period, a 50-year period, when Liverpool was stronger than London. Of course, it's not like that now. Everything is in Canary Wharf.
That was the second half of the 19th century.
Yeah.
Is this stop number 4?
Yes. Yeah.
Can we get off?
Hang on, Jimmy, there's people coming down.
Yeah, you go to the cabin.
Yes.
Yeah, well you can go just there, that alleyway, go down there, turn right, and it's on your right hand side.
All right, lovely.
You won't
Thank you.
There's a building just on our right over the light, a white one. That's our old post office. It's a stunning building, though. And on your left, there's a building with all multicoloured pigeons on it. Honestly, on your left. And that was the Bank of Liverpool. Not only did we have our own bank, we even printed our own notes for 3 years. That was until the Bank of England stopped us, of course. The Doyle Tunnel from River Mersey. And on your left is the Birkenhead Tunnel. Now it's called officially the Queensway, and it was opened by the King George V and Queen Mary in 1934. There's a statue of Queen Mary and King George there on either side of the tunnel. When it was built and opened in 34, that was the longest and widest tunnel in the world. It's still the widest at 44 foot. Museums are. This is stop number 5, and there are main museums there on the left. That's the World Museum, and there's our library. Now, the library is worth going in if you get the chance because of the architecture. Forget the books, it's just a stunning building architecturally. And then a little bit further up on the left is the famous Walker Art Gallery. Now, the column there, that's the Duke of Wellington. His statue is 18 foot tall, made of 2 French cannon that came back from Waterloo. A tree planted by John Lennon's sister Julia in John's memory. Now, because Queen Square is being developed at the moment, there's no number 6. This is where we're counting this as stop number 6. Yeah. Now that building to your left there, that's St George's Hall, jewelled in our crown. It's open to the public. The entrance is to your left on the pavement. There's part of it was our law courts. in use till 1984. The middle part's the Great Hall, which is still used for civic occasions, and the concert room is the end part of it. That's where Charles Dickens used to read his works live to the public. He introduced A Christmas Carol to the world in that building there.
St. George.
The public, it's free, one of our museums, so, and it's worth a visit, definitely. And it was built to impress, because you notice on the left-hand side, the railway station. Well, the first passenger railway in the world was from Liverpool to Manchester. Platforms, and that's the first building you see. This is Lime Street. Used to be known as Lime Kiln Lane up until 1830. So the lime kilns that were down here. Now on your left there is the Adelphi Hotel, very famous hotel. Even had its own television show 20 years ago, not a series. But this version of the Adelphi was built in 1911-1912 by the White Star Line. The idea was, you'd get to Liverpool by train, you'd stay in comfort in the Adelphi, and then you would jump the Titanic to New York and back again. That was the plan, never quite worked at plan. The place, raved over it. But also Lol and Hardy, Bob Hope, Bing Crosby, Frank Sinatra, Bob Dylan, all stayed there. Now it has seen better days, but it's got great history as that hotel. And the previous Adelphi that came down in Theodore, Teddy, used to come and visit his family in Liverpool. They couldn't go to visit him in America because they backed the wrong side in the American Civil War, but he used to come over here. And Charles Dickens lived there when he was in Liverpool. And he used to walk up this hill regularly to visit the workhouse at the top. And we know this because he became a special with the city police to get ideas for his novels. And if you remember in Oliver Twist, it was Mr. Brownlow who saved Oliver from the workhouse. Well, this is Brownlow Hill. And at the top of the hill to the right stood our workhouse. We had more than one. They were horrible places. They were all over the country. In Scotland they were called the poorhouse. If you didn't have the money in your pocket to put a roof over your head for the night, you'd be put in the workhouse. As simple as that. And then you had to try and get out. It wasn't as easy to get out. There was 5,000 people living in this particular workhouse at the top of Brownlow Hill. And Charles Dickens used to visit quite a lot for his ideas for his novels.
Pension of zo?
This cathedral was going to be twice as big as St. Paul's, bigger than St. Peter's in Rome. And on your right hand side there's a pyramid shape, because during the 1930s we built the foundations and the crypt for this huge cathedral. And just on our right, that corner, is the crypt. And you're going to think, well, why didn't we finish it? Well, at the end of the 30s came the Second World War. Priorities changed. We did get a new cathedral in the 1960s, and you'll see that when we go around the corner. If you look to the left, this red brick building, we've got 3 universities. This is our first university's first building. And it was built by a local architect called Waterhouse, Alfred Waterhouse, who had a passion for terracotta. In fact, he had the nickname Slaughterhouse Waterhouse because all his buildings were red. And that's where the saying comes from. We went to a red brick university, thanks to him. But he also built some very famous buildings like the Natural History Museum in London and Manchester's Town Hall. They're not all in red. Now to our right you can see the Metropolitan Cathedral of Christ the King. It took 5 years to build, completed in 1967.
Ook niet lang, 5 jaar.
And the lantern tower at the top there has 20,000 individual pieces of stained glass in it. And when the sun shines, like on a day like today, it's like a kaleidoscope of colours in there. It's a very modern and very colourful cathedral. Now, if you notice on the right there, there's the bell tower. Now the bell tower is moved forward from the main cathedral because the vibrations of the bells would destroy the stained glass. So Ringo. But the one on the far right is Matthew, and that is the bell from the workhouse that came down in 1929, still in use today. With a cathedral at either end and a whole host of other things. On your left hand side is the Everyman Theatre. That's where Shirley Valentine was first produced on stage. It's where Julie Walters, Pete Postlethwaite, Sir Anthony Hopkins and 007 himself, Daniel Craig, all started their careers as youngsters. Now we've got 2 buildings in Liverpool called the Phil. One is the Philharmonic Dining Rooms, and one is the Philharmonic Hall. And the idea was, you go wine and dine in the Philharmonic Dining Rooms, then go to be entertained in the Philharmonic Hall. So the first, they were both built on the Nouveau style 1900, but the one on the right, Philharmonic Dining Rooms, that is a stunning building. It's a true gin palace. Built on the Nouveau style 1900, as I said. It was John Lennon's favourite pub. When he was rich and famous and had everything, he was asked, is there anything you miss now you've got the world at your feet? He said, I can't go in the Phil for a pint. The railways, he invented the coupling system. And he also financed the Liverpool to Manchester Railway in 1830. Now on our left is St Luke's, built 1831, hit by incendiaries on the 5th of May 1941, and it was ablaze and the roof caved in. And we left it as a memorial to the 4,000 plus civilians who died in the Blitz here. We also lost 120,000 buildings here, because of the docks of course, all the convoys coming in. But that old church there, it's actually got scaffolding in it at the moment. That's because we're redoing it because it started to crumble. We don't want it falling in on anymore. Now on either side of the road on the pavement there's a Chinese dock. This is Chinatown, where the road signs are in Cantonese as well as English, and the street lights are lanterns. The community here numbers approximately 10,000, and it's the oldest Chinese community in Europe, second oldest in the world after San Francisco. And we are twinned with Shanghai. Way back in the 1920s, the Shanghai government redeveloped their waterfront. It's called the Bund, and it's a copy of Liverpool's waterfront. So we've been connected for a long time. And when the millennium came along, we gave each other gifts. We gave the people of Shanghai, all 30 million of them, a couple of liver birds for their buildings, and they gave us all $470,000 an arch. I think we got the best part of the deal. When he got the commission to build it, he died in 1960, and we finished it in 1978. Some great tours in there. It's a building that you have to go into to appreciate the size of it, because it is the largest cathedral in the UK. It doesn't look that big, but it's absolutely huge. Now tonight, 9:15 or 8, wherever it is, on ITV Channel 3, Houdini and Doyle, it's a brand new television series going to start tonight by Arthur Conan Doyle, and it was filmed here in Rodney Street. They do a lot of filming here because it can be 1880s, 1920s very easily. It's a very famous street. On your left hand side there, that black door number 62, that's where William Gladstone was born. And William Gladstone was 4 times Prime Minister and 4 times Chancellor during Queen Victoria's reign. Also Brian Epstein was born here in number 4, when number 4 was a private nursing home. And we're going to take a sharp left, and there's a red door on our left. That's how the railways invented the coupling system, and they also financed the Liverpool to Manchester Railway in 1830. Now on our left is St Luke's, built 1831. Hit by incendiaries on the 5th of May 1941, and it was ablaze and the roof caved in, and we left it as a memorial to the 4,000 plus civilians who died in the Blitz here. We also lost 120,000 buildings here, because of the docks of course, all the convoys coming in. But that old church there, it's actually got scaffolding in it at the moment. That's because we're redoing it because it started to crumble. We don't want it falling in on anyone. Now on either side of the road on the pavement, there's a Chinese dock. This is Chinatown, where the road signs are in Cantonese as well as English, and the street lights are lanterns. The community here numbers approximately 10,000. And it's the oldest Chinese community in Europe, second oldest in the world after San Francisco. And we are twinned with Shanghai. Way back in the 1920s, the Shanghai government redeveloped their waterfront. It's called the Bund, and it's a copy of Liverpool's waterfront. So we've been connected for a long time. And when the millennium came along, we gave each other gifts. We gave the people of Shanghai, all 30 million of them, a couple of liver birds for their buildings, and they gave us all $470,000 an arch. I think we got the best part of the deal. $10 million people emigrated from Liverpool to the New World, whether that be Canada, America, Australia, New Zealand. Because we always say that the best ones stay behind, but there was 10 million jump ship, and that was the idea. It was like there was no other way to get to the New World, so people would travel to Liverpool and then wait their turn and get passage out to the New World. But this area, the Baltic Triangle, was very cosmopolitan. And in 1907, economically we were at our height. We couldn't do anything wrong. And that's Toxteth ahead of you. It was a very, very posh place. As I say, people settled here from all over. Nicknamed Scousers, because the Norwegian sailors would make a stew on board ship and they called it lobscouse, and we loved it, so we became Scousers and that became Scousers, and that's how we got our name. Called lots of other things, but we answered to Scousers. Now we're just about to cross the dock road again into the South Docks. And the South Docks in 1980s were derelict. The docks were too small, boats were too big. So what happened was we cleared all the buildings away, cleaned the docks up, and this is more Liverpool in the 21st century now. First thing you'll see are the buildings there, lots of new houses. It's a nice place to live now. And on the right hand side is the Queen's Dock. That's been cleaned up, and that's now the Liverpool Water Sports Centre. And on the left is the Coburg Dock. 176 years ago, Conan sailed their first vessel from that dock. And that's why the three queens were here last year, celebrate the 175th anniversary. And that was the start of the Cunard shipping line. Now on the right is our wakeboard centre. Wakeboard is water skiing without a boat. You get dragged across the dock on a wire, on a board, and I can't believe it, but there's nobody doing it. Over the river for 800 years. And it started with the monks in Birkenhead Priory rowing people over, just before those people settled on this side. Notice the big boat on your left. That is one of the Irish boats. The big boats that come into the river, the container vessels, don't come this far. They come as far as Seaforth, which is about 5 miles dead ahead on this side of the river. Just a collection of Grade 1 listed buildings in the UK. In the 1980s they were truly derelict. We were seriously going to bulldoze them into the docks. They've been saved and it's now full of hotels and bars and restaurants and some great museums. The Beatles Museum is here. It's the only one you pay to go in Liverpool. The rest of them are all free. But if you're a Beatles fan, you're not going to mind. It's worth it. If you're not a Beatles fan, don't worry, because there's the Maritime Museum. You can spend all day in there. Brilliant. Now on your left hand side there's the Beatles Museum there.